Have you ever felt like your prayers were echoes in the dark? Like God had gone silent, and your soul was sinking into something you couldn't name? Now imagine being a warrior, a king, a man chosen by God, and still waking up with tears crusted on your face, still feeling like the walls are closing in, still writing songs, not from joy, but from deep despair. This was David, the man after God's own heart, a man who battled emotional storms that would break most of us. What he left behind in the Psalms isn't just poetry, it's therapy. Before he was crowned, he was crushed, rejected by Saul, separated from home, betrayed, hunted, hiding in wilderness caves with nothing but a weapon and his wounds. In Psalm 6, David doesn't hold back. He writes, "I am weary with my groaning. All night I make my bed to swim. I drench my couch with my tears." What does that sound like today? Extreme exhaustion, crying that won't stop, sleepless nights, crippling sorrow. In clinical psychology, we call these symptoms major depressive episodes. And while David didn't have a diagnosis, he had the symptoms, and he had the honesty to document them. Most believers today are afraid to admit when they feel like they're drowning. But David wasn't. He took his pain to God, raw, unedited, messy. And that in itself was the first act of healing. Psalm 42 gives us a deeper glimpse into David's internal world. "Why are you cast down, O my soul? Why are you disquieted within me?" That's self-reflection. That's emotional intelligence before it had a name. David wasn't just venting. He was evaluating his mind, his spirit, his pain. In modern therapy, we teach people to identify and talk to their emotions. David was doing that thousands of years ago. He was naming his emptiness, questioning his sadness. But instead of letting those emotions rule him, he recentered. In the same breath, he said, "Hope in God, for I shall yet praise him." It wasn't denial. It was spiritual anchoring, a reminder that pain wasn't the end of the story. But David's emotional struggles didn't end in exile. They followed him to the throne. His affair with Bathsheba, the murder of Uriah, the death of their first child, each event chipped at his soul. In Psalm 38, he writes, "My guilt overwhelms me. It is a burden too heavy to bear." He speaks of festering wounds, overwhelming sorrow, and isolation. These are textbook symptoms of grief-induced depression. He even says, "I am utterly crushed. I groan in anguish of heart." It's easy to think spiritual people are supposed to be strong all the time. But here's David, God's anointed, confessing how crushed he felt. He didn't spiritualize his pain. He sat with it. He processed it with God. And that is therapy in its most sacred form. And then, from the depths of all that anguish, came Psalm 23. Not a poem of triumph, but a confession of survival. "Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." He didn't avoid the valley. He walked through it, slowly, painfully, honestly. And what does he say? "Thou art with me." Not after the depression, but in the middle of it. David teaches us, God doesn't wait for you to feel better. He steps into your brokenness. He walks with you through the anxiety, through the tears, through the guilt, through the grief. Depression didn't disqualify David. It deepened his understanding of God's presence and gave us psalms that still heal hearts today. So if you've been crying in the dark, if your bed feels soaked with sorrow, if you're tired of pretending everything is okay, remember this: even kings cried, even heroes broke down, even God's favorites wrestled with depression. But they didn't wrestle alone, and neither will you. This is Bible therapy, and healing is holy.